So what are we going to talk about?
I thought maybe you would have a topic since you haven't been around lately, Missy.
Okay, you're the director of this podcast, so you pick a topic and I just go along with you on the ride.
Okay, I might be the director, but you're the creative talent. And creative talent comes with ideas. Hello.
I never come with ideas. When have I ever given an idea for a podcast?
Well, don't you think you should start? I mean, come on, pull your weight, lady.
So our listeners, like they think everything, like we tell them we're very like natural, and this is what actual natural is. We don't have a topic.
I know. Man, I was thinking I should probably think about that. I was actually thinking about it.
Let's start with intros. Go ahead, start there at least.
Seriously?
Yes, we're live.
Oh my gosh.
You want my creative vision? My creative vision for this podcast is this is how we're going to post it. Go ahead.
I can't believe you're recording already. Okay, fine.
I am.
That's so messed up.
And I'm not redoing this. We're already on the clock. Go.
Hello, and welcome to the next episode of It's Your Time to Shine, a podcast about being a mom in a modern world. My name is Juspreet Kaur, and with me is my friend, Lisa Vora.
Hello. This is an episode about nothing.
Remember when Seinfeld, people were saying, was basically a show about nothing and everyone was enraged, but we loved it?
Yes. Like the first season, it didn't do well, but then it just took off.
Yeah, because we didn't realize how much we just don't need planned content in our lives. Like just having a show about nothing just sounds wonderful.
Exactly. And planned content is overrated. Sometimes it's just, we're too scripted. Like just let's see behind the scenes.
Oh, totally. Yes. In all honesty, 2 times in my life recently where I was like planned content, I just don't want it anymore. One is this weekend, we were going to go see my friend perform and his show got canceled. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank God. Like, this is going to be fun. Plans getting canceled, like such a great adult moment.
It's the best feeling in the world.
Yes.
Plans getting canceled.
Yeah.
You just suddenly get, it's like free money, free time. All of a sudden, ding, 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 ding.
I know. And if it's in the morning, you're like, oh yes, I get to sleep in. And if it's in the evening, you're like, oh, I get to go to sleep early.
Exactly. You don't think I can go out, go party.
No. But I was telling my friends because we were going to go, I think they were going to go on stage at 9:30. And so me and like a couple other friends, we were all going to get together and meet at 9. And so when I said like, hey, here's the deal. Like the show's canceled. Do you guys still want to meet up? What do you want to do? One of my friends was like, I still want to meet up, but can we do it during daylight? Because I was so dreading going out at 9. She was like, you wanted to meet at 9. I knew we weren't going to get home till midnight. And I was like, yeah, why don't we just go to the senior citizens dinner at 4:30 and like go do that.
And then play bingo.
And play bingo. And they're like, that sounds awesome. Count me in.
Getting older, I always thought I was going to be like, oh my God, I'm never going to be like that. But when you find yourself being like that, in this case, you're excited about bingo, or like just hanging out with your friends in the afternoon, it's not that bad. You're like, oh, I am like that, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Totally.
I'm wearing mom jeans, and I'm okay with that.
Yes. I mean, neither one of us are wearing mom jeans yet.
Yeah, but we will, and I'll be okay with it.
Yeah, something about it is like, it's fun. It's fun to like just be like, you know what? I'm too old for that. I'm not doing that anymore.
It's fun to be liberated, like have this like you have people around you, teenagers or, whatever, your kids, and they're like, Mom, what are you doing? And I can see why moms get like a thrill out of it. Like, it's just funny to see them so
freaked out,
mortified while you're free.
Yeah. And you're like, well, guess what? I don't care. The same thing happened last year. I went on a girls' trip to Calgary in Canada, and it was so beautiful. And I wore my ski pants the whole weekend. Mm-hmm. Like I wore thermals, and then on top of my thermals, I wore ski pants because it was like 20 to 25 degrees, right?
Yeah, and you're comfortable. You care more about being comfortable than cool. I get it completely.
Yeah, and out of all of us, one was married, and then everybody else was single. Like the other 4 girls were single. And
who are these girls? Where was I? Where was I on this trip? Oh my God. This is what the topic is. My best friend betraying me.
So the funny thing was like, they were like, oh my gosh, no. They're like, why are you wearing this? It's not even that cold. One girl was from Vancouver, and she's like super tough. Like she's super athletic, and she's just tough chick, right? And she's like, it's not even that cold. And I was like, first of all, I'm from Texas, and for me, it's really cold right now because when it's really hot, when it's 100, I will not be sweating bullets, and you guys will be like passing out.
Yeah, good answer.
And then I was like, second, I'm married, so I don't care. I don't need to look cute. And I was like, this is good for you. Everybody else is going to be looking at you. And they were just like, they were all like, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah, I was like, you got this. You're good.
Yep. I got my thermal pants on and my ring on.
Yes. And I was like, I'm so comfortable right now. It is not even funny. Like anywhere we went, they were like, okay, I want to go back to the car. I'm really cold. And I was like, really? I'm good. I could stay out here for another 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I'm like that. In the wintertime, I wear like 500 layers and I don't care as long as when I go outside, I'm comfortable.
Yes. So that's what it's all about.
And Metro too, I'm on the train and because I'm this whole, my hair has to look perfect. So I have a hat on and a hat on top of it and I look idiotic. I could take it all off, but I don't want to go through the inconvenience of putting it on and off. So I just look like a fool and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, I told them, I was like, I don't want to pull the mom card on you guys, but if your hands, head, and feet are warm, you won't be like, then you're good. Like if your toes are freezing or your head's freezing.
Your feet are huge. The feet will warm up the entire body.
Yeah, you're never gonna be comfortable. And sure enough, like they didn't bring one didn't bring boots. And then one of them, she just wore sneakers with one pair of socks and she thought she'd be fine. And of course she's miserable when we're walking through the snow because your sneakers get wet in a second.
Oh God.
And I was like, you spent all this money to come here. We're here together for 4 days and like, you're going to be miserable. Like, go buy boots. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Put another pair of boots on.
Boots and like really warm woolen socks. Like I invest in those.
That's what I got. Yep. The mom game is strong when it comes to survival training. Okay. Like, I'm ready.
And Allie, of course, is going like, she's never cold. I mean, it's summer right now, but in the wintertime, I'm fine.
Oh, that's my kids. Okay, my kids are like that. When it's cold, they don't ever want to wear a jacket. But lately, every day they go to school, it's still 92 degrees outside. And they're like, I need a sweatshirt. It's so cold in my classroom. And I'm like, what?
Oh.
And they're like, it's so cold.
Because it's so cold inside? Okay.
Yeah, because it's cold inside, which I'm like, oh my gosh. But then seeing them come home with these sweatshirts and they're walking outside, I'm like,
can't they just take off the sweatshirt, like put it in their book bag, wrap it around their waist?
They don't want to carry it. So they're like, it's just easier to wear it.
Oh, wow. So the inconvenience of carrying and they'd rather just be hot.
And you know what? Then it causes popsicle emergencies in my house where they come home and they're so hot that they're like, quick, popsicle me.
You have no choice but to give me popsicle.
Yeah, they're like, popsicle me, mama, popsicle me quick.
That's cute. Popsicle me.
And so I throw them popsicles. Sometimes their cousin walks home with them too. And I'm like, quick, grab a popsicle. So I've been getting a lot of juice pops for that reason, like the no sugar added ones. Because I'm like, they're having one every day after school.
Oh, yeah, me too. Popsicles was a big thing for the summer for us, like by the pool.
Yeah.
Popsicles.
So fun.
Sugar-free. And then I like this thing that I at a friend's birthday party, Allie's friend's birthday party, they had champagne with a popsicle inside. And it was like one of those 95-degree days.
Oh.
It was like the greatest thing ever.
Instead of ice or?
Yes. And then I started calling them shamsicles. No, Samir's like, look online, see if someone's used it. I'm like, of course someone's used it. It's just too obvious. Yeah. And no one's used shamsicle.
The patent attorney's always like, do we own the IP? Can we like
yeah, that's what he is.
This?
Exactly. No, but it's so easy. You just put a popsicle in and it looks really cool. And not just with champagne. You can use like apple cider. Like you can do non-alcoholic and just put a popsicle
Anything
in.
fizzy.
Anything. And it cools so it's cold and the flavors like permeate slowly and it just tastes good. Like it's not strong. Like I would never have a blueberry champagne, right?
Yeah.
But if you put a blueberry popsicle inside regular champagne, it's so slow that you like it. It's almost like the aroma of it, you know? So
sounds fancy. Okay, this is a marketable idea for next summer. Eating popsicles by your pool must be really great because I'm always worried about being messy and they can just wash their hands right there in the pool, right?
It's perfect. Oh my God, the pool popsicle has been awesome. You know, I'm really sad. We closed our pool yesterday. So
do you have to get permission to reopen it?
Well, no. You're such a beep. I can't say the words. No, but you have to close it because it's wintertime and the leaves are falling and it just costs too much per month. You know, between just running the pool, the pump, the heat, it just costs a lot.
Oh, I never thought about that.
So we have to close it in the wintertime. Yeah, in Texas, California, you probably never have to close your pool.
How do you close it? Do you put up a sign? Do you have like, sorry, the pool is closed? Speak to management with any concerns? Did you get a guy to come close it so Allie wouldn't bug you guys?
I'm laughing because you are right. I'm laughing this hard because you're totally right. Like I say this like everyone understands it, but you're right. If I say pool close, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Like,
is there water
someone
in
who doesn't have a pool? Like I'm talking like pool lingo. No, we actually have a company. And they service our pool and they do the opening and closing. So they do whatever they need to do. They cover it and I just watch them cover it.
So they cover it so no leaves fall in it?
Yeah, and also just they winterize it so the water's really like low. They have to take the water out, make sure algae doesn't develop, things like that. They just do it. We pay them. You know, we talked about this just now, time versus, paying someone to do something to get time.
Yeah.
So I don't pay attention. I just know we pay them and that's it. And I don't have to worry about it.
That's cool.
Bottom's like that too,
Oh
right?
my gosh, yes.
He'd rather pay someone but you would rather actually do the task and waste the day. Is that?
Oh my gosh,
correct?
and waste the day. Excuse you. I do enjoy, let me clarify, I do enjoy doing work myself and then having the satisfaction of knowing that I completed the task and I devoted some time to home ownership. Yes, that is true.
Yeah, see, I would rather devote the time to doing nothing. Like I paid someone $50 to do the task and I am at home relaxing, watching a good movie.
That's great.
Yeah, we are wired differently, aren't we?
Yeah, we're totally wired differently. And I think there's a compromise in both. Like I'm trying to do less because a lot of times when you think like, oh, I'll do it myself, it never gets done. So that's one of the trade-offs, right?
Exactly. That's what I tell Samir. Like, he's like, we'll do it. It never gets done. And I'm like, just hire someone. We have a guy, we're like now thinking about what we're going to do with our leaves, raking the leaves. Mm-hmm. And we have a guy. And I was like, we'll probably just have to give him $50 and he'll do it. And he's like, I can do it. And I'm like, it's going to take us all day. But why? Why not just pay someone? Like you could work those hours and obviously get paid more than $50.
Well, yeah. And I think like, it kind of makes sense. Like, it depends on if he enjoys that thing or not, right? Like,
no, he doesn't. It's not his thing.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say that I power washed my sidewalk and driveway a few weeks ago. Yeah. And I just did like an hour every night.
Look at you.
I was using it as relaxation, listen to music time, and just chill, like after the kids were basically ready for bed. I did it like about 8 to 9 every night because it actually cooled off enough that it was still pleasurable. I mean, you have to remember that in San Antonio, it's hot until November, so it's like pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, these days here too, today's the first cool day. It was a record-breaking highs 2 days ago.
Yeah,
here.
So because of that, I did a little bit of the power washing every night, and I really enjoyed it. And Buttum was shocked. He was like, oh my gosh, you did such a great job. And it would have cost like several $100 to get that much power washing done.
Yeah, no, at that point, the cost benefit is like, if you're going to pay so much, then I understand. And you enjoy it. It relaxes you. I get that.
And I enjoyed it. And I did like an hour every night it took me 4 hours. And
it's a workout. So you are doing a 2-in-1 there.
It was a really good workout. I was like really proud of myself afterwards. And so many people came to me. So many people, like my neighbors, were like, oh my gosh, your sidewalk looks so good. You guys aren't moving, are you? And I was like, no, we're not. But thanks for the compliment.
The only reason you would make it look good.
Because when people think you're prepping to sell your house, that's like the ultimate sign of cleanliness.
Exactly. Why does your front yard look good? What is this landscaping stuff?
Yeah.
They must be moving.
And so the funny thing is that we also got there was somebody who was looking for work and was like, I can do any job, like I'm just looking to make some extra cash. And so it was like I was saying, it was still so hot. And I was like, felt bad. But Buttum was like, it was a husband and wife duo. And he was like, they're looking for work. Like, let's just give them like redo our mulch and stuff.
That's how I feel too. Why not give them? You're helping these local people.
Yeah.
Like I know the guy we go to, he really needs the job. So you're helping.
Right. Yeah. So, and they did an awesome job and they were out here for like almost 6 hours. They did like an awesome job, like just putting new mulch down and cutting back stuff. So that plus the power washing, like it made such a huge difference. And I was talking to one of my friends about it. And I said, man, I never thought something like power washing your front walkway would make such a huge difference. And she was like, oh yeah, that's the biggest thing. She was like, we did that to our house. Like she moved last winter. And she was like, the house that we were moving out of, after we moved out, we were like, let's get it ready to sell. And that was one of the things that the realtor told him to do. And she was like, why didn't we deserve that? Like, why do the new buyers deserve that?
Exactly.
And I was like, oh my gosh, what a great way of looking at it. So then I was like, yeah, I should do that. I should like repaint our railing to the front stairs. Like Why not? Why not enjoy it?
You repainted also?
I didn't, but I will. That's on my list of things to do.
You will? Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
I want to see how this looks. We need to power wash. So you want to come?
Oh my gosh, yes. I'll be there in a
I'll
heartbeat.
pay you.
Okay, perfect. Just fly me out there.
See, I still won't do it. but I understand the satisfaction though, because that's how I feel with organizing. When I organize, I feel like I've done something.
Yeah.
There's a dopamine hit.
Yeah, there you go. And it's nice to do something that you're proud of. So if you enjoy it and you're proud of it, you should do it. But if you're dreading it or if it's never going to get done, then I'm with you. Support the local economy and let someone who does enjoy it do it.
Exactly. No, that's true. We have a project in our family room, and Samir he's in charge, and it's just nothing's happened.
Oh, really?
Like he's supposed to do a little bit of painting. We're supposed to get the TV mounted. And just today I reminded him, I'm like, that TV's getting mounted before you go to Japan. And he doesn't understand why it matters, but we just got a new fireplace and I want that cozy feel. And I don't like the weeks he's in Japan because I'm a big baby.
Yeah. So you want to offset it with the fireplace.
Exactly. Offset it. I want to offset it with a nice, cozy family room.
That's awesome.
So, as a matter of fact, after this podcast, I got to go back and say, did you do something about that? Because if it's on me, I'm going to do it. I'll remember. I have systems. He doesn't have systems. His system is to remind me to remind him.
I love that. He's even the jobs that are given to him, he's outsourcing back to you.
He is. Like literally, I have it in my notes for today. Friday, remind Samir to call mounting people.
It's actually really brilliant, though, his plan. I don't know if you realize it or not.
It's a lot of pressure on me. It's brilliant for him. You're right, but not for me.
That's so
My
funny.
to-dos just add up per day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's giving you stuff that he knows you can handle.
Yeah, I know. And exactly. Anyway. Hey, you know how you asked me last time? Are they giving homework? They're totally giving homework.
Oh, kindergarten, they're giving homework? No way.
Yeah, I just got the package yesterday. The teacher had emailed me because Allie was sick. So I was like, hey, I just want to make sure you give, all the stuff that she missed.
Well, there's your first mistake right there.
I know, right?
She didn't miss anything, okay?
Why am I being so thorough? And then she emailed me. She's like, yeah, we're giving a package. You have the whole month to do it, but it's your homework. I'm like, okay, so it's a little thing. Oh, no, I looked at it, and it's like October 1st, do this. October 2nd, do this. It's laid out, like it's organized. But I'm like, oh, wow, this is like work. Like every night, this is going to take her at least an hour.
An hour of work? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and one of them I think was like, write this letter and that, and then see if you can write a sentence. I was like, whoa, like how advanced are these kids? My kid can't write a sentence.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
That's funny.
I'm going to do a 3-word sentence.
Why couldn't they why can't they just like have a whole, like make it like bingo and be like, hey, just do a bingo version of this. Like pick things, go like across or down. Because I hate prescriptive work.
And it works so perfect for us right now because we're at the bingo age. So it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we would love it. We'd be like, hey, what are you going to do today? It's funny. My kids are coming home with less and less homework. And I've been asking them, like, are we missing anything? But the teachers say, like, oh, we work them so hard during the day that we really are trying to, like, not give homework anymore at night.
I heard that about Texas. My new friend on the street, she just moved from Houston. And she said, yeah, it's been quite an adjustment getting used to homework again because they didn't have homework over there.
Well, I'm wondering if they really work them or if they're just because like Texas isn't the greatest school system by rating either. So, and you guys are like in Fairfax area, right? Which is supposed to be like the best schools in the country. So maybe it has to do with that.
Yeah.
But I just think it's strange. I'm used to like growing up in Maryland. I'm used to like so much homework every night. And the kids are always like, oh, we just need to like think about blah, blah, brainstorm. They do a lot of brainstorming.
Okay. Critical thinking skills. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it too. I was like, okay, that's cool. How do you show the teacher that you brainstormed though? Like, it's not measurable.
She'll know when they sit there and have a debate about something and
maybe,
the arguments they come up with and being able to see the different sides to every story. They can measure it at that time.
I don't know.
Right?
I mean, you seem to be very like understandable. Like you're very like, maybe I trust the teachers, I do too, but I'm just like, I don't know.
I don't know. I probably trust them too much.
We don't know. The whole thing is like, you never know what's going to work for a child. Like we won't know for another 10 years.
I just know I don't like the homework idea because Allie and I after school, we just like run around. So now it's like, okay, I guess we'll run around and do homework. Which is fine. And now we got to catch up this weekend. I'm such a baby. I shouldn't. It's funny. I was hanging out with a mom friend last week. She has 3 kids and she's always giving me like, oh, you just have one.
Right.
And I'm like, you chose 3. Like, don't put it on me.
Yeah,
you know?
that's funny.
So that's like our relationship. And so that's been our relationship. And we were having dinner with the kids. Whatever, we were going to a movie, and right before the movie, we were eating. And I was saying, oh, homework, it's just, I'm complaining. And her daughter's in the same class as Allie, right? So she knows that. She goes, oh, have you been getting the Wednesday folder? I'm like, yeah, it's just another to-do. I get the Wednesday folder, and then I got to check it off. And then I have all this stuff like, oh, order this, do that. And then she just looked at me. Thank God you only had one kid. And I was like, I know.
That's so funny. The brilliant thing about about her teachers is that they're giving her the work for the whole month. So you could actually just on Saturday, you could be like, marathon, we're going to finish all the homework and be done.
And that's what we're doing this weekend because I just got this. So this weekend, we're going to work on this.
Can you tell your friend to listen to this podcast so that she realizes that you're complaining and you don't even do anything about the homework?
I don't.
You're so funny.
I complain just for the sake of complaining.
It isn't. It's more entertaining, that's for sure.
Well, I'll do a little bit. It's just that, I'll be honest. I'm going to tell you something very honestly, okay? I learned letters, in England, right? Sounding and reading, right?
Sure.
But I went to Germany, in fifth grade, and I learned German very quickly. Within 3-4 months, I was speaking fluent German. As an adult, I can see, like, cognitively, a lot of the sounds that I make just come out German, okay? So I'll give an example, like the word also, right? ALSO, right? In German, it's pronounced also, and it is a German word as well. The point is, if I actually have to break it down into sounds, I might actually not remember and I could mix it up. And that's why I don't teach Ali. I'm like, let Samir just do the sound so I don't confuse her. That's really it. Right or wrong, that's what I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But that's like what you're describing is like whole language learning, which there was a time, I don't know what's in right now because what's in and what's out.
It changes depending on research every year, yeah.
But the thing with the whole language learning, which was in style when my niece was in school, because I remember going to school with her and her reading for things, it's like they actually don't sound out words because so many English words, so many American pronunciations of English words are not phonetic.
Yeah.
So therefore, they would just teach them the word. They would just be like, BEST, best. You just need to know that that word is best. You don't like sound it out. And then you have like the typical ones were like comb and womb and tomb. Like they didn't sound those. You just learn the word.
Yeah, right now it's sight words. Yeah, I don't, and also English. No, that's true. And also English is, there's so many rules, like exceptions to rules. And that's hard.
Yes, it's very difficult.
Because Ali said, right, like Cinderella, she's like, why isn't it S? And I'm like, you make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So,
and do you know what the reason is that it's a C and not an S?
Do you think I know?
Well, I was just curious.
No.
There's probably a reason. It's probably something like in Latin, it comes from the root of some like this word. And then in Latin, they changed it from, right?
There's a logical reason, but I don't know how to explain that to Ali. I mean, I don't know it anyway, but even if I did, it's like, well, because the Latin word of the root, blah, blah. And meanwhile, we have 3 branches of government. I don't know. Anyway.
Because when you have that voice, you're always talking about government.
I feel like it. I feel like I had to bring government and politics into this.
But the funny thing is, you realize a lot of, like, obviously I grew up speaking English and I learned 2 other phonetic languages. I learned French, which is not exactly phonetic, but all the rules are very consistent. And then I learned Punjabi and Hindi, which are phonetic. There is no rules to memorize. Like anybody can learn it. You can sound out any word, which I love. And when you're translating things from Punjabi into English, like using Roman letters to write out something like a Punjabi word, that's when you realize there's like the C and S and the G and the J. Like, why is Jeffrey spelled with a G and a J?
Oh, I always mess up G and J.
Yeah, so many of those. And then the V and the W, like they make the same sound. And so I can totally relate. And I'm just like, it is really difficult. So,
but that's why I don't do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
And I stick to the, situational learning. So you're in school and this happens. What do you do? I'm good at that stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome. My kids, last week, they had this active shooter drill in school and they sent the video ahead of time so the parents could watch it. And they were like, we have a screening of it at the school like one night, or you can watch it on YouTube. They sent us the link and they're like, you can also watch it on YouTube. And so I had said like, oh, I want to go watch it first. I'm that parent that's like, sex ed or active shooter, or they're going to do something. They give you an option, a preview. I always go because I'm like, I want to know what they said so I can discuss it with my kids. And my kids, of course, are like, no, don't go. Like everything. It's like, don't get more information. Why? And I'm like, why? What's wrong with doing? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, then I'm going to go do it. But it's so funny that the kids think that. But anyway, so I watched this active shooter video and it was so frightening. Like, there's a lot of people who are saying like, oh, what we put our kids through, like what we expect them to be able to process with these lockdowns and stuff is like so intense for them, right? And for kids who are really anxious, I was an anxious kid and I'm an anxious adult too. Like that would really scare me.
No, you're right. You'd have that fear and it could actually affect your learning because you're constantly looking at the door.
So I watched it, and then when the kids heard what I was watching, they were like, oh, what is that? And then I told them and I said, oh, you're going to see it in school. And they were like, oh, okay. And it was called Run, Hide, Fight, the video.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I saw the title, I was like, what? They're telling kids to fight? Why would you ever do that? And like you and I worked at a bank. Do you remember the advice they used to say if you're ever like, if there's a robbery?
Don't question, don't argue, just do it. Yep.
Just give them the money and don't try to be a hero, right? Like the bank would say, don't be a hero. That's not your job. Your life is more valuable than money, right? So I had that in my mind. And that was like way for both of us, like 20 years ago, right? That we worked as bank tellers. And so now I'm like, why would you ever tell them to fight? And then, so we watched the whole video, and for the content, it was well done for the content. The content's messed up. And it's like so many problems I have with like having to have that conversation with kids. But in the grand scheme of things, Budham and I talked about it, and the kids were there too, just sitting around the dinner table. After I watched it, I was like, okay, so they're basically saying, if all else fails, fight for your life.
Oh, okay. If they get to that point. Okay.
If you get to that point, find something big. And they showed like one guy had a laptop, and then somebody else had like a chair, and somebody had like a broomstick, and they were just like, don't just give up. That was more of the message. But, it's hard to tell from the title, right, what it means. And especially being in a state like Texas where they think that there's a lot of people who say, if there was a good guy with a gun, then a bad guy with a gun would be stopped. You hear that kind of rhetoric, which I'm just like,
yeah, no.
That was my frame of mind when I saw the run, hide, fight part. And so then we talked about it, and I said, but mostly the best advice is just to hide. Like run or hide is like the thing that you should do. And trying to fight is like very difficult and dangerous, and people are little, right? And people act in unexpected ways. Like someone else, you might just get hurt from someone else who's also trying to fight back or something. And we were kind of talking about that. And then afterwards, so we had the conversation. Kids were fine. They weren't as fazed about it as I probably was, because I think a big part of that is that they have grown up with this their whole life. Like Allie will always know what a lockdown is.
Well, I was thinking right now if they're doing that for the kindergartners,
I'm sure they do it for everybody.
Yeah, they will do it, I'm sure. And I'm sure we'll hear about it when they do.
It just made me pause and think, like, on one hand, I have a teacher who's telling me, don't worry about them not getting homework. I'm not giving them a lot of homework because they learn so much that they're exhausted by the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, you have this fear of an active shooter that you're giving them. It's like two different worlds. It's so bizarre to me. It's like what they're going through.
Yeah. I'm thinking about this right now. I actually haven't given it too much thought because Ali just, entered the public school system. I'm just, part of me is like, I understand the drills. And another part also is like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel, I guess. I don't know. So
yeah, no, it's a hard one. And I'm sure you're going to feel the things that I felt, which are like, should I just keep her home? But that's not a solution either, right?
Or you can't live in fear, so.
But you know what you can do? And the weeks that I spent hanging out with Rena and ended up doing the podcast with her, and I did the podcast with her instead of you, she says this all the time. The thing that you can do is advocate for change and advocate for like smart, responsible gun laws, right? Yeah,
definitely. Go vote. Go. I liked what you guys had said in the last one about developing the community bonds, bringing a police officer over to your house so that you get to know your law enforcement. So they're working for you. they're not policing you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I really like what you guys said.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And we forget that we have a hand in that. It's not that the other person needs to be perfect, but like we can make it easier.
Yeah, and that last one, you guys reminded us that we are their boss. So we're the ones who vote for them. So I like that. I was like, right on. I'm on the metro. Like, yeah, when I was listening to you guys.
That's awesome. Solidarity on the metro or any public transport system is like what we're hoping for with this podcast. 100%.
Yeah, well, that's what we got. Yeah, that's what you got. We got. Yep.
That's awesome.
All right, on that note, I got to say, I don't know what to call this podcast, but it was not about nothing.
That's funny.
Or maybe it was a whole lot of nothing.
It was a whole lot of nothing in 2-minute increments. Before we wrap up, let me just say one thing about why this is really awesome. Because Budham and I just watched Great Hack on Netflix. Our friend Rena was the one who told me about it, and she used to work at Facebook. So it's really fascinating to get her perspective. But I watched it. I'm not going to do a spoiler for any of our listeners or for you that haven't seen it yet. I'm just going to say you must watch it, and you must think about data and how much data we generate from an online perspective. So I work in like a digital experience creation thing for my company. And we do a lot of like getting, like we call it personalization, when we know more about a person and then we give you products and services and offers that are relevant to you, which every person wants. I want that. You want that.
But it is freaky. It's like, how much do you know about me? Like, how do you know that I want that exact sweater? Like, how did you know that that was my vision? That scares me every time.
Exactly. And it makes you think, and I've thought this before, like, are our apps recording us? Like, how are we just talking about mattresses and mattresses came up on my news feed, right? On Facebook or Instagram or on Google. And so that's exactly what this documentary is about. It's just about how many data points we generate and how predictive targeted ads and content and things can be for each person. And they go into big ramifications such as the election and Brexit. But I'm like thinking about small things, like how I will never see something like completely outside of my interest on Facebook now, because everything is procured just for me. And like everything on my Instagram is going to be just what they already think I like. And I don't even know what I like.
But I don't even think twice about it because I just see something I like and I'm like, ooh, score. Click, add to cart.
A couple of months ago, Budham and I went to this town hall, and it was a mayoral town hall where two candidates who were running for mayor were debating. And afterwards, Budham and I went to this restaurant. It was close by, but it was driving. Like we didn't just walk over to it or anything. So we got in the car, we drove about 5-6 minutes, parked, and then went into this restaurant. And when we were at the restaurant, the hostess was like, oh, give me a minute. I'm going to try to find a table for you. So she walks away. I turn around, and right behind me is a couple that was also at the town hall. Somehow, like when we were exiting our row, it was, it's like being in a movie theater, right? Like people are zippering in, like some people from the row and some people in the aisle, and you're just going like a couple people go in, then a couple more people go in. I happened to make eye contact with the guy as I was walking out of the row. So I just remember seeing his face, and there had to be at least 500 people there. So somehow we end up in the same lobby of the restaurant waiting for the hostess. And we were like, hey, were you? And I said like, hey, you're at the town hall, right? And he was like, yeah, I thought I saw you, or I thought I recognized you. And we're like, oh man, that was intense, wasn't it? And we're like, yeah. And it was the first time in San Antonio we've had like very liberal and very conservative candidates who are like running on a Trump-like platform. Like that hasn't happened here in San Antonio. So it was, we were like, wow, that was like intense, and we were talking about it. And then the guy was like, hey, do you guys want to share a table? And I was like, sure, and so we ended up sharing a table with them and got to know and made friends with this couple that's from like the south side of San Antonio. They're both Latino. They have completely different backgrounds. Like, here's two people I never would have, it would never show up on my friend's circle. I would never run into at work. I mean, that would not happen. And I'm like, that's because our life is all pre-planned for us.
That's really cool that you guys started talking and like you made friends like at this.
Yeah, totally. And he was, and we were talking, we were talking about different things. And obviously for him to even see me and Bottom like wearing the stars and then talk to us, okay, we already know like a little bit. He has that bias for like, you know, being open to new cultures and new people. So you have that little bit, right? So it's not like it was completely random because he did say, hey, strike up a conversation. Hey, let's have dinner. But above and beyond that, I was like, we didn't like so then I became friends with them on Facebook. We had no other friends in common. So I was like, this really is an example of like going completely outside of your network. And I was like, and so we were talking about different things. And so he's like really active in the immigrant movement because his perspective, so I was like, oh, okay, you know, we're just talking about backgrounds and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I've been here. My family has been here for 10 generations. My wife's family has been here for 15 generations in San Antonio for 15 generations. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And he was like, and then people treat us with their comments, people treat us like we're foreigners, like we jumped the wall. And he was like, the thing that we say, and he said it in Spanish, which I won't be able to say, but the translation of it in English was, I didn't cross the border crossed me.
Oh, that's nice.
It's beautiful, right? Because he was like, this was Mexico before. And our families have been here for like almost 1,000 years, like because of that. Yeah. So it was just, it was so cool. And it made me think. And then like watching that documentary too, it's like, I don't want prescriptive stuff. I don't want Netflix to tell me what other movies I might like based on the other, you know, the movie that I just watched. Like, I want to watch a stupid movie and it'll be my own choice.
You make a good point. Like in general, I don't get mad. I get mad when people think for me, like, you know, when I'm writing an email and they're like, you could say this, like, oh, I'm going to say what I want to say. But in this case with like marketing, I've been like, cool, I don't have to like go out. The internet knows, you know, what I like. But and same with films and movies. But you are right, because then if Netflix continues to say, here's what you might like, you're never going to open yourself up for something completely new, which is really the point of growth.
Yeah, totally. And like our kids will never, I want them to experience the feeling of like getting a movie, renting a movie or going to the movies and that movie is terrible. Right? Rather than like what we do today is like check the reviews, see what the critics say, see what is Rotten Tomatoes, what's the rating.
We got to go through that experience. Yeah.
It's like if you haven't gone to watch a movie with Narinder and Bottom and the movie was terrible, okay, you have not lived yet.
Oh, I used to always say that too. Like we'd try to figure out what to do at night and like, oh, you want to go to improv, see a comedian. Oh, what if he's not good? And I was like, if he's not good, it's still a story. You can talk about how he sucked.
Yeah, exactly.
Same with bad dates. I loved bad dates because bad dates gave me anecdotes for like ever. But a good date was like, oh, that was great. He was awesome. And it's fun for like a second, but you're not like, it's not like anecdotal. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Whereas that movie reference that I just made, that inside movie reference that Miyu, Bottom, and Narinder know about, but really only Miyu and Bottom know about, is like, we will always remember that, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember what movie that was, but was it Gladiator or Avatar or something?
I don't remember. Was I part of this?
Yeah. Do you remember that? We went to the movies and there was like it was before assigned seats. So we go in and Narinder's like, I don't think we're going to be able to sit together. And he just peeled out and took the first seat. And we're like, what the hell?
I do remember. Oh my God, you just remembered.
And then me, you, and Bottom went to the front and we found 2 seats together and 1 seat by itself. And you were like, you guys sit together. And I was like, no, it's fine. Bottom was like, I'll sit by myself. And then you ended up sitting right in front of me by yourself. And then me and Bottom sat together.
Yeah, wow, you have good memory. I mean, now I remember that.
And that was the funniest story because whenever we saw Narinder after that, we're like, we know Narinder will never get your back in a if you're in like a tough time because he wouldn't even wait out the movie theater. Remember afterwards we were like, hey, Narinder, way to go. And he was like, I don't like transitions, okay? I just want to be doing something. I'm not good with transitions. We're like, what? You're so weird right now. Narinder has a baby, by the way, now. He has a little girl.
I know. I saw on Facebook.
Yeah. So adorable, right?
He got a big fat love from me.
Aw, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So congrats to Narinder. So.
Yes.
Hopefully he won't leave the baby hanging because he can't deal with transition. Anyway.
It sucks that we're going to have to cut all this out because that's the funniest part of the whole podcast right there.
Yeah, I'm not cutting it out, all right?
Okay, y'all, Lisa's back and she's making executive decisions again. And on that note, thanks for listening.